call individual workouts since the beginning of school, where I could work with them for about 3 weeks, 4 at a time. And that's a long day because you have 14 guys. You work 2 groups of 4 and 2 groups of 3, and you get 45 minutes on the days we work. That's like a 4-hour day just teaching on the court. And then the second 3 weeks we could bring them together. And but here now you have more time with them. I'm in that period of time, but that's the first official day of practice, where we started yesterday. So our second practice is today. Our first practice went very well. I was pleased with it. We have 8 new players, for those of you who are wondering. We have 8 new players. We bring back 5. You've seen 2 of them. We'll start off, we have 3 seniors, all guards. We have a nice breakdown of 3 seniors. I want to say 4 juniors, 4 sophomores, and 3 freshmen. This year's team. One of our freshmen is a walk-on. So we have out of the 14, the number 14 I've mentioned, 13 are on scholarship. But this team it appears thus far, and I'm talking about from the summer, both June, July, and August, both summer sessions, and what we've done in the fall thus far, they appear to be a more cohesive group that likes each other. I've seen more leadership already this year than I have in the past year, and let's put it this way: I'm coming home a lot more happy than I used to, and that's good for my wife as well as my own health. And so I'm really pleased thus far. My concerns are that I don't have that one enforcer rebounder on our team. I don't think we picked up. We needed a true power forward, and I'm not sure we picked that up. We have some good 6'6", 6'7" players that can really jump. They're athletic. None of them are, those big, strong type guys that I always use the word. I was a big fan of the Portland Trailblazers when they won their title in 1977 with Bill Walton and Maurice Lucas. Some of you older folks, and nobody wants to claim they're as old as me. The enforcer, and I don't have that one piece of the puzzle. So that's a little bit of a concern of mine right now going into the season. How are we going to rebound? I still think that we made a turn as far as putting in our defensive footprint on this program last year, and I do think we'll even be better defensively this year than we were last year. And I think offensively we'll have more weapons. We have more shooters on this year's team, more guys who can stick the ball in the hole. We did lose some size from last year. I would tell you, if you looked at our team, you're going to say they're a little bit smaller, even though we picked up a 6'11" freshman who weighs about 240. He is not going to probably be a key player for us this year. We knew that taking him, that he might even redshirt, but he's a big, strong young man that can move his feet pretty good, but he just needs a little time. But other than him, we're probably not as physically imposing a team as we were last year. The players coming back, y'all met Wes Davis. I think Wes Davis is still going to be a very good defender for us. And his practice and work ethic has improved a tremendous amount since we finished last year. Imani Davis, I think, could be one of the better players in the league if he will, and he has worked hard, but he still needs to slow down a little bit and improve his game in certain areas. In one area is his defense. I think Imani could have been even a bigger scorer for us last year than he was, but many times he took himself out of games with foul trouble. Like I told him, I said, you kept yourself from playing major minutes more than I kept you from playing major minutes because of your foul problems. Another player that started for us for several years, Caven Tilbury, has improved. He's a good shooter, about 6'6", about 215, 220. And I expect him to do more scoring for us this year. And the other 2 returning players are Kendall Ramlau, who played more toward the end of the year, about 6'7", 225, and Vic Bermudez. And Vic may be one of the bigger surprises of the year. We didn't have Vic all last summer. And as you well know, the NCAA allows you to work with your team during the summer. You don't get to work with them much. It's 2 hours a week. But between the conditioning, the weight training, and that, because the conditioning weight training, you get 6 hours a week during the summer, Vic started way behind, and he never really caught up. Well, he stayed here all summer, and I've seen tremendous improvement. He shot 50-something% from the three-point line in junior college, and we're starting to see that. We're starting to see that shooter we hoped we would have had. Overall, I think my guard play is better than it was last year, and I think our post play will get more scoring out of our post. I'm hoping Caven Tilbury and another young man named Cameron Naylor will give us some scoring at the forwards. I also failed to mention another young man named Jamarcus Witherspoon. I do think all those players are great athletes for us. Something in many ways, we're more athletic. We're just not quite as big as we were last year. We had a good-looking team in terms of walking through the airport. You know, we looked good, big, but sometimes we didn't play as big as we look. And that's what I'm trying to tell my team. It's not how big you are, not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. I know some of you have heard that before, and I believe in that. I believe in that a great deal. So I'll take questions from anybody about this. One other thing I want to mention, in fairness to the kids last year, when you play Houston, SMU, Texas, Utah, Oral Roberts, and SFA in your non-season, you're really taking on some good teams. The 4 best teams in Texas last year were Texas, and at Baylor, SMU, and SFA, and we played 3 of them. And we're going to play 2 of those again. SMU is not going to be on our schedule. Utah, in some magazines, or at least in one magazine, was picked 2nd. So I do believe that in many ways it was a perfect storm. New coach, totally different than what they were doing, and very difficult schedule that created an environment difficult for, I guess, some guys to say, hey, this is working when you're playing such a tough schedule early.
Maybe it was worth the effort.
Say that again.
Maybe they didn't think it was, began to wonder if it was worth it.
That could be it. You know, I mean, our main problem was our seniors making that change. They were recruited to run and gun, and that's understandable. I mean, hey, you brought me here to run and gun, and now you're bringing in somebody that's going to make us play D, make us make more than 1 or 2 passes, and you know. So I was telling some of the individuals in this room that we played 11 games last year where we were up 1 or 2, tied, or down 1 or 2 with 2 minutes to go, and we lost 10 out of 11. 10 out of 11. I've never lost that many close games in 2 years, much less 1. But it happened last year. So
How tough was that?
it was very tough. It was very tough. There's a lot more gray on this head of mine than there was at this time last year. And so I do think our point guard play is better. I do think Wes Davis and Vic Bermudez are going to be a lot more comfortable in the situation I'm putting them in this year versus last year. And so we do think we have better point guards playing for us, and they also brought in a combo guard named Ethan Montavo. I failed to mention him. He's one of the best shooters I've ever coached. And he played for a coach that I truly respect out of Nebraska, North Platte. And so we were lucky to get him. Matter of fact, he visited us, and we thought the way that him and his parents were talking, you're coming, and then boom, here comes A&M offering him a scholarship. One of those deals where we didn't get this guy or this guy, we're going to drop in on this guy. And I thought, after all the work I've done, because if you fly and drive out to North Platte, you're doing a lot of work. And so when you go to North Platte, Nebraska, and once to watch a young man play, and then go out to Omaha again just to speak to his parents, you think you're putting a lot of effort in as head coach. Well, it paid off. The young man and his parents and his coach, thanks to his coach, said, look, these guys were on you all year long. A&M's just jumping on you in the last second. You need to stick with the program that's been with you all during the year. And he stuck with us. And, you know, if somebody said you're going to beat out A&M at Texas State, you know, I think the school's got great potential, but it's hard to beat out a Big 12 school, you know. So, but we did. We got that. We were able to keep it.
Coach, you're talking about rebounding lack of size, forcing rebounding, but isn't rebounding a mentality? I mean, it's
A lot of it is, Steve, you hit the nail on the head, and that's why I keep telling them, you got to go, fellas. You can't watch other people shoot, or you can't watch your shot. And I'm talking about the forwards and the centers. And matter of fact, I've made the statement before to people like Caven and our new player Cam Naylor, because both of them can really jump and they're quick. And I said, if you're going to shoot the ball and stare at it, I'm going to pull you out. I said, if you're going to shoot and go try to rebound your own shot, as long as it's a good shot, I'm not. But and I've said the same thing to Amani and some of the other bigs, that I'll take away outside shooting if y'all won't go rebound. We need to rebound the basketball. I think that's one of the keys to winning. Keep the other team from getting multiple shots or second, third shots off on their offensive end, and we need to get second and third shots. So that is something we've emphasized. We've also worked a great deal on blocking out this summer, defensive rebounding.
Amani was talking about how the time he's been spending in the weight room. He looks smaller, but he says he feels stronger.
No, he is. He's. For example, we do some conditioning, and he just passed everything with flying colors this year. And on the court conditioning and on the track conditioning, he really just knocked it out of the park. Matter of fact, virtually, I think every one of my returning players, as far as on the floor conditioning, knocked out of the park, and on the track, Wes doesn't like the track. He's got a mental block on there. But Wes runs really good on the court, and you put him on track, he goes, oh hell, he don't want to do it, but you're going to do it, Wes. But I'm not worried about Wes's conditioning as much as, some other people. Well, again, you have to block out, and you have to. If you're quicker than the other team, well, let's take Texas. They're huge. They're going to be huge, and we have to take good shots, and that doesn't mean pass the ball 8 times. That just means if a good shot's there after 2-3 passes, take it. But if it's not there, take some good shots that you're confident you can hit, approximately 50% of the time. And but on the other hand, some of these big guys are not as quick as our smaller guys. So again, if you're attacking the rim from 20 feet out, 25 feet out, are they going to be able to block you out if you're quicker than they are? So it's a mentality. I'll bring that up. The team that I left behind at SFA had a great year. They're not very big. Their starting center is 6'6", but they were some tough kids. I knew that. We beat Oklahoma my last year there, and my front line was 6'6", 6'6", 6'4". And they were tough people. And that's what I'm trying to instill in these guys, is that maturity and toughness and teamwork can carry you a long way. That's why you see the upsets in the NCAA. Some of these teams are just tough, and they play well together, and they don't care who gets credit.
Discipline too. Coach, you scoured the country for the players that you wanted to play with your system now. It'll be a melding, I know, early on, but do you feel pretty comfortable about where the guys you got and what they?
Yeah, again, we try to get us a power forward, and we missed on 2 kids who decided to stay closer to home. I'll give you an idea of my travels last year. This was after the season was over. I went to Yuma. My week started off. I went to Yuma, Arizona, to look at a JUCO kid. I drove from Yuma to Phoenix. I flew to Omaha, and we got that one. I flew from Omaha to Jacksonville, Florida, and we got that one. I flew to Jacksonville to, what's the town in Virginia? Richmond. I didn't get that one. And I flew from Richmond to Oklahoma City to look at a point guard and lost him also. Then I came home. That's a week. So you're right, I scoured the country. But like I tell my assistants, I said, I'm going where you tell me to go. And so, I hope that, and I do think after being with them that we have a more coachable group of young men who will buy into what I'm selling. And that's big. I mean, if you have a business and you hire employees, like I tell the players, all of you are 2 or 3 years away from working for somebody. And believe me, you don't go in and tell your boss, hey, I got a degree in marketing. Let me show you what I can do. They're going to tell you this is what we want from you. And you're going to do what they ask you to do. Or you're going to find yourself unemployed. And pretty much I tell them the same thing about some of you can shoot better than others and all that. Each of you will play a different role. You have to accept that role if we're going to win. And all of you are getting the same pay, full scholarship. So, and then also some have to realize my turn will come if I have a sophomore. You know, he may be more of a factor as a junior or senior than he is as a sophomore. A lot of people didn't buy into that last year. I think they're buying into that this year. You know, I feel pretty good about saying I think they're going to buy into what I'm selling. And to me, that's huge. I've always felt good about my ability to get players to play their role. Well, last year, I got an F or D minus, F in that. I just couldn't get some players to play their role. So, and that's being very frank and honest.
Oh, no doubt, Coach. You know, you talked about losing all these close games last year. One of the keys to a team getting over the hump is winning those games.
Exactly.
And the other,
Without a doubt.
is winning a game or two that you're not supposed to win. It really creates credence in your program. Do you think that you guys, you have a team that can do that this year?
I do, because I think our guard, I'm going to tell you what, this is, when they put the three-point line out there and they stopped the hand-checking rules, guards became super. Now, three-point line's been out there for a long time, and that opened up the game, but now they took away, they make it harder for defensive coaches like me with some of these new rules, but guards are the key. Look at the Connecticut guard, what he did. One of the smallest players on the floor was MVP. And I've always felt like you got to have good guards, and I believe we are better at guard than we were last year. I really, truly do.
When you look at your recruiting for next season, you already got a 5'10", 40 guard, 6'3", 6'4".
Commitment, yeah. We only have 3 seniors right now. Okay, so all guards.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the 2015 class. When you're going after players over board, I mean, are you really pushing hard for a little more size, even though given the state is big?
Well, I'm not worried about my size at guard. I'm worried about my size on the front line. And if I don't have any seniors on the front line, so somebody will have to say, I'm unhappy, I'm leaving. So, you know, we have what we have, and I'm going to work with it. Like I have a 6'7" kid named Cam Naylor. I mean, you know, he puts his arms out and he covers the room. You know, but he weighs 205. So, I mean, he can jump over the rim, but